Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Kathy. Today we're going to be doing the end of July garden tour. It is overcast, it has drizzled, but hopefully we can get through this without it raining. So we'll start off with the vegetable garden and then go around and tour all the flower gardens. So come on in and let's get started. I will go ahead and start in the front here and then make my way to the back. And so the very first garden bed that we have over here, by the way, we made all our garden beds ourselves. And if you're interested, I'll put the measurements of the garden beds on the screen. So the first one here, I have quite a few flowers in here in the hopes that I can see them blooming while I'm sitting on the patio. However, the grapevines kind of block my view, but that's okay. I can clearly see these from the rest of my backyard here. So right in the front here, I have my zinnias, and as you can see, they are slowly starting to open. They do have quite a few buds, but I don't know. I feel like my garden is very slow compared to other people's gardens that they've been showing all their blooms already. And I don't know, I think it is because we have all the big trees in the back here. Oh, we got a friend here. I've got the squirrel that's a little bit upset with me, I think. And of course, we have a straggly sunflower here. I have them kind of throughout my garden. I don't know why. I didn't plant any of them in the back here. But there's one sunflower here amongst the zinnias, and that's okay. I'll just let it be. And then next here we have the straw flower mix. They're looking very healthy, but not blooming yet. And then I've got the dahlias, and they are also, I think, kind of behind because I started them off from seed in the garden. And then we have the cosmos. And they are looking well too, even though a lot of them did not even come up. And then I planted some herbs here. I have oregano, I have thyme, and I have rosemary. Now, it looks like the oregano is doing well. It's coming up nicely. However, the thyme is not doing the best, but it's not too bad, but it is very straggly. So as you can see at the end, nothing came up. And then for my rosemary, I see a very few little straggly plants here. Of course, most of them, again, they didn't come up. But I did plant some rosemary in a pot as well. And then over here, I have just some carrots at the end here. And then the second garden bed has the green and yellow beans. And I have harvested from them already. And we've, of course, eaten some green bean soup already, which was very delicious. But they're looking kind of messed up, I guess, because I've been picking through them. And I'm going to go ahead and leave them to see if I can get another batch of green beans before I pull them out. And then we had our radishes here, but they are done with. And then here again, we've got some more carrots. And then at the end here of this garden bed, we have our cabbage. And the ones that are at the end here are doing much better. Oh my goodness, I got a little friend here. Look at that. We've got to put diatomaceous earth on here because they are eating. Oh my goodness. Now I'm showing that on my garden tour, right? But that means we have to nip this in the bud before it gets completely out of control. But this cabbage here at the end is looking very beautiful, besides it being eaten here, which we will take care of right after this garden tour. And I have a few more here, but they are not as big as the first one here, because I think the first one here is getting more sunshine than the rest of them are. And so since I started off with the right side, let's just go ahead and continue, and then I'll come back and do the left side here. So over here we have our cucumbers. Again, not looking very healthy. I know some people have picked cucumbers already, quite a few actually. Again, there is little cucumbers on there, but we have yet to pick any. And I think they are also not getting enough sunshine here. I think we planted them in the wrong spot here of the garden. You live and you learn, right? Every year we do something different. And then continuing here towards the end, I just have some different flowers in the back here. I have some phlox here that I have transplanted here from the front. And we have the lilac bushes in the background, and then there we just put a piece of our old fence that we had replaced this in the beginning of this year. I thought it would look kind of rustic back here. Plus it hides the big ugly hydro box that is in the back there. I really wish our yard wouldn't have one of those, but unfortunately it does. And then in the back there I planted a couple of packets of wildflowers. And again, it's staying very wet here. We've had quite a bit of rain. And again, I don't think they're getting enough sunshine here. And then I also planted 3 perennials here as well. And I will try to find the names of all the different perennials I have. And then I will put the name of them on the screen. And of course, as you can see, the weeds are making their way out again. We have been doing so much weeding in the last few weeks. And then the back garden bed here against the fence, we have all our herbs and our salad greens. And they've been doing really well back here. We've got the onion chives here first. And then we have the Swiss chard here, and we have been eating from that for a while already. And as well as we've got the romaine lettuce that we've also been eating from. And then we've got cilantro. As you can see, it is looking really healthy. I have harvested them a few times already. We've got the parsley, and then we have summer savory that I just cut off. I think it was yesterday. To make soup, and then again I dried some, and then we've got the dill here at the end. And then in the corner here of our garden we have a miniature cherry tree, and then we have a zucchini plant back here, and it has quite a few blooms, so I think I will get quite a few zucchini out of it. And then I'll go ahead and swing you around and we'll head back. And I've got just some annuals going right along the garden walkway, going right to the front. Just some marigolds and petunias. And then we've got our tomato plants here. They are huge. They are looking very healthy. And they've got lots of tomatoes. So hopefully we will have a large harvest of tomatoes because my salsa is gone. And I only like my homemade salsa, so I will be making lots of salsa this year, hopefully, and I will record that for you as well. The first one here is just the, I don't know if these are the Tiny Tims or what the name of this one was, but I know these are the tiny tomatoes that you would put in salads or eat fresh. And as you can see, it is overtaking the little sidewalk here as well. They're just growing right on over, and I have trimmed them back already. And then again, I think we planted 3 different kinds. Again, I don't remember the name of these tomatoes that we planted because to me it really doesn't matter, as long as they are like the big ones for in sandwiches, which I know we did, as well as some Roma tomatoes. Oh, the sun is coming out now. Oh, that's perfect. And then there we've got 2 more straggler sunflower plants here that I did not plant, but I'm just leaving them because I think they're pretty in here. And then back here I have planted a climbing rose bush. And it was blooming beautifully at the beginning, but it does not have any blooms in here right now. If I find a picture of it, I will insert it here. I have fertilized all my rose bushes, so hopefully they will start blooming soon again. I was really hoping they would for this video, but unfortunately not. So once that rose bush takes hold, and it is for our zone area here for in southern Manitoba, the plan is that it's going to climb all the way up and cover up some of this back wall here. And I'm hoping it will cover that ugly thing there. There used to be a fire, an actual woodworking fireplace in the house, but the owners before us took that out, but they left that there. So I'm hoping the rose bush will climb over the next few years and just go all over that, but who knows. That sunflower looks like it's almost done. It had these big blooms, but now you can see there's just seeds left, and it kind of looks like birds have maybe been picking at it as well. And coming back here, we put the cement block pathway right along the garden, all the way from the front to the back, as well as in between the garden beds, so that if it is raining and muddy and I want to go get something from the garden, that I can still go do that without getting all muddy. Here, these last 2 rows here of tomato plants are Romas for salsa, although I do use all kinds of tomatoes for salsa. And then we have our pepper plants here. I just did the green bell peppers, and then as well, I don't know if I did any red ones. I kind of feel like I did, but I don't remember. And then we have jalapenos out over there. And we do have a few peppers already, and I have also harvested some, as well as some jalapeno peppers. I have taken in a couple of them. Here's another beautiful one here. Oops, and I think I just took it off. That means I gotta take it in and make use of it. And then in the front here, I have some beets. I really love canned beets. There's a few people in my family that like the beets, but for myself, oh my goodness, I could eat half a jar every day. So I'm looking forward to canning those when they are ready. And then over there we have our grapevines going all the way up to the roof. But before I go ahead and show that to you, I just wanted to show you here too. We've got some more blocks in here. The smaller blocks, they were at this property when we bought it. What is it now, 8 years ago? But these bigger ones we got actually from my sister. She didn't want them, so we bought them from her. And then back over there, I have the Virginia creeper. I have several of those going up the back fence over here. So you'll see one, I think I've got 2 or 3 staggered out throughout our backyard. And then at the bottom I have, of course I forgot the name of it, but I know it's some type of succulent, and it changes color. The leaves change kind of into a pinkish color in fall. I will put the name of the plant on the screen. And then for the rest of the trees that we have alongside here, I will leave the full name on the screen. Again, the tip of the leaves, they turn into this reddish green color. And then we've got a crab apple tree here. And then we have a blue spruce tree here in the back that we like to decorate for Christmas. So coming back over here to the grapevines, these are Concord grapes. And last year we did not get a lot of them, and I don't know how many we will get this year, but my husband likes to make wine out of them. but they are starting to slowly change color. But we do know someone that has lots and lots of Concord grapes that have been giving them to us. So we'll see if my husband can make grape wine this year. But there's quite a bit of grapes way up there. I don't know if you can see that on the video. I zoomed you in right to the top. Now, this used to be all just grapevines, but I think I made a mistake by planting a Virginia creeper here. I thought it would be beautiful and pretty because these change color in fall, right? Into this orange reddish color. And I thought it would be beautiful if there was one climbing up amongst the grapes here. But lo and behold, of course, they are taking over the grapes. So we'll see if we will remove it next year or leave it. I'm not sure yet. And then in the front here, of course, we put more of the, I don't know if you'd want to say decorative stones, but they're like all kinds of different shapes. And those we put in the front here because I thought they looked pretty here. And then, of course, with a pathway going all the way to the back of the garden. So where will I start next? Okay, so I'll just swing you around here. This planter was at this place when we bought it. I refinished it, and we have had it at several different spots of our yard since we have lived here. But this year we moved it over here to the front by the patio steps. And then over here I planted 3 different colors of mandavillas. I've got the red, and then we've got the yellow. I think this is a different type of mandavilla. I thought the yellow one was really pretty, and then we've got the white. Now, I had hoped that they would have climbed much higher by now already, it being end of July. But we'll see what August will bring. But I'm hoping they're going to climb all the way up and then be in full bloom. And the patio flowers that I've got in the pots over here are just geraniums. I think geraniums look absolutely beautiful. They always remind me of my mom. She really loved them. And I've just got 3 large terracotta pots that I planted them in. And I basically do the same thing every year. And then up on top here, I have a large pot of hibiscus plant, and it does bloom 2 different colors. And it will have blooms about every other day, and then the blooms will fall off and it starts all over again. As you can see, it's just getting ready now to start blooming fresh again. If I find a photo of the full blooms, I will insert it here. And I'm just going to go ahead and share a few different plants that I have up here on my patio, but I'm not going to share too much of the patio because I do have a complete patio video coming up mid-August. Now, these are begonias. They don't need a lot of sunlight, so that's why I planted them and have them in the back here. This is our little table where we sit and have our coffees and do our devotionals. And I planted these begonias in a very rustic looking pot because I feel like these are so pretty. They look vintage to me. And I thought, well, then I want to have an old vintage rustic looking pot for these begonias. And then I just added some greens in here. And then at the bottom here, I have my lipstick plant. I think it's just absolutely beautiful, and the smell is just amazing. And I just have it in a terracotta plant as well. And then, of course, I have my petunia hanging baskets. I know you have seen them on a video here before as well. And I have really been enjoying them. We have a hummingbird feeder up there. It looks like it needs to be filled again. But I have yet to see a hummingbird this year yet. I hope to capture a few yet. And then I have a couple of planters here with herbs. Yes, they do get quite a bit of sunlight here later on. I have mint, but the mint, look at that. It is just not doing very well. But on the other hand, my basil or basil, I don't know which way you say it. Some people say it basil and some people say basil. I say basil. It's looking very healthy and it smells so good. I do have another mint plant that my daughter gave to me that I'm going to plant in a bigger pot yet. I'm going inside just to show you the beautiful mint plant that my daughter gifted me and this beautiful little vase. So I do need to plant this into a bigger pot and then maybe set it outside instead of just at the window here. And then over here, I do have a Mexican mint plant as well. I had never actually seen a Mexican mint plant before until one day we were at my stepmom-in-law's place and she had one and it was just so beautiful. So she gave me one of her starters. So I have started it inside. I don't know, she had it as a house plant. So that is why I'm keeping that in the house. Now back to outside. That's where my other petunia hanging basket is. We enjoy spending a lot of time on this patio. I absolutely love it here. It feels like a little oasis when you're sitting back here. And I just wanted to show you the grapevines and the Virginia creeper, what it looks like from this side of the fence here. We have in the past few years, when we're sitting here on the patio, we're just picking grapes to eat right from the patio. And then we'll just go ahead and get back to the garden tour here, going down our patio. And we'll start off over here. And in the back here, we have a lot of prairie poplars that we planted for privacy reasons. And of course, they are taking our yard over completely. I know a lot of people say, oh, I wouldn't have done that. You made a mistake. Probably, but we really love them because it gives us a lot of privacy from the neighbors. So that's why we really like it. And then back here, I have another Virginia creeper going up this fence. It looks absolutely gorgeous in fall. And then, of course, I've got the succulent here as well. I think some people, or it's known as a stone crop, but I know that it has a different name. Again, I'll leave the name linked down on the screen later on. Hopefully I remember to. And then just recently I have planted ferns in between here as well because they like shade, and I thought it would be a nice filler for the back here. And of course, you can see all the weeds as well. My husband made an all-natural weed killer, and I've been pulling also lots of weeds. So, and it doesn't stop, right? And we've got a fern there, and we've got another succulent here, and another fern there. And then I planted some of these. Again, I forget the name of it. I got these from my daughter. They're very soft, and they're supposed to cover all this eventually. Then, of course, another one of those succulents and some more ferns. If I would have done the garden tour and waited until all my weeds were out, I probably wouldn't be doing the garden tour because it just doesn't end, right? And then we've got a little birdhouse over there. So this is the whole view here of our backyard. We don't have a very large yard, but I will go ahead and go around this way to the bend and then go up front and finish off over here, and then I will do the front yet. So all these flower beds that you see here, they were here when we purchased the place, but we have made a lot of changes because they were so overfull and overgrown, and plus I wanted to put kind of my own touch on it. And some of these perennials in the front here are ones that I planted this year, and they are not really blooming just yet. A few of them are, and I can see that this one is actually looking quite sick. If I can find the name and a picture of it, I will insert it here, but I'm quite sad about this. And this is a shrub. The leaves are turning red in fall, so it just looks really pretty. And then going over here, I have a daylily, and it is getting ready to open, but it has not opened up yet. And then over here, I have another dahlia that I planted from a bulb, and it's not blooming yet. Again, I'll be doing an August tour. Hopefully there will be a lot more blooms happening in August. And then back over here, I have I believe it's called Ligularia. Again, I will put the name of it here. And then over here, I've got another climbing rose bush that has made its way all the way up to the top here, but it did bloom already and then stopped blooming. So again, fertilized it. Hopefully in August I will have lots of beautiful blooms. And it is a red one. And then over here I have I believe this is a black-eyed Susan, if I am correct, that I planted back here. And then this perennial is blooming these beautiful purple little blooms. I will put all the names of them on the screen if I can find them. And then this is a little yellow one that I planted this year as well. And we've got a purple one in the front. I'm not going to take the time and look up all the different names right at this moment. So I will just put it on the screen, and then this one here as well. I have, I believe, still all the tags because I do garden journaling. And then coming to the back here, I believe this is the Ligularia, so I'm not quite sure about that one at the moment, but it has these beautiful yellow shoots that comes out, and just as you can see, there's lots of shoots coming out, and when it is in full bloom, it is just absolutely gorgeous. And then I've got some upside down lilies here. Now my lilies are almost done blooming. Lots of them have fallen off already. And then over here we have an apple tree, and it is a trio apple tree which has 3 different kinds of apples. If I can find the tag, I will insert it. And then I have some more dahlias at the bottom here. And this is a Veronica spicata, I believe is what this one is called. And it absolutely looks gorgeous in the background of flower beds. And I can't quite remember the perennials that I have in the background here, but I will leave the name of them down below. This one is just starting to bloom. And back there, there's some more ferns. And we also added another piece of the old fence back there just for a rustic look. And then we've got the bleeding heart that is done blooming already. And I've got some more upside down lilies back here. And then we've got a cornflower back here as well. I planted several of these throughout the garden because they attract butterflies. And some of them are doing very well and some of them not so much. And then this bottom one here, I believe is a chrysanthemum, I think. Again, I will see if I can find it. It will bloom like a dark brassy orange in fall. And then here we come to my lilies. Oh, how I wish that the lilies would bloom all summer long. And I think the pink ones are my absolute favorite. Aren't they beautiful? And this one has kind of laid itself almost to the ground. There is my bright orange ones, as well as more red upside down ones. And I used to have yellow ones. I don't know what happened, but I don't see them coming up anymore. So I will plant some more. And I've got white ones. I have a lot more white ones on the opposite side here, but they're all done blooming already. And then way down here, I have another perennial I planted this year. It is some kind of snowball flower. Again, I'll put the name on here if I can find it. And then here we have more of the daylilies blooming. They are beautiful yellow. Last year, this whole bush was full. It was so pretty. And like I said, I feel like all my stuff is blooming late this year. I don't know why, but for some reason it is. And then I have just a little fountain back here. It is broken, but I think it looks rustic and beautiful, so I keep it here. My granddaughter loves coming here, and she'll just pet the bird and just talk to it. It's so cute. And then just backing up here a little bit, we have the hydrangeas. This one will bloom green, and it has really big, beautiful clusters later in August. And then those clusters, they turn pink. And then we have the big, bright white one over here. It is doing very well, looking very healthy. As you can see, it has just so many beautiful big blooms. I absolutely love it. I think it's so pretty. And then just backing up, we have a really large evergreen tree here. And my husband has decorated it in the past for Christmas. But unfortunately, the squirrels got at it and chewed off the cords. And my husband was not very happy with it. So he hasn't done it, I think, the last Christmas, or was it even the last 2 Christmases? But when this tree is all decorated with lights and you can see it from in the house and on the patio, it looks absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got the back shed over here, where we just keep our lawnmower and all the different garden tools. I am hoping to one day find a rustic little table to put underneath here and just decorate it a little bit more, make it look more pretty. And then I have just a planter there with petunias. And then all the way back there, I have another Virginia creeper growing. I don't know why. I maybe have planted there in the past, but I had forgotten about it. And it is definitely needing a trellis to go up the back fence here. But at this moment, I don't have another one. But once I get one, I will put it here and then let it do its thing. And then I will just swing you around. These are our raspberry bushes. We have been enjoying raspberries every single year. And this year, I didn't have like a whole lot. And they still have some on them. This plot over here used to be all just raspberries when we purchased this place, but it was too much and too overgrown for us, so we thinned it all out, kept the back row of the raspberries and planted other things back here. We have the decorative rocks here, and then I planted some wildflowers along there as well. And then at the corner here, I have another plant that blooms these beautiful purple flowers. If I can figure out the name, I'll put it on the screen. I have a very hard time remembering the names of all the different plants. And this one I planted this year. It does have a bloom. It is a bee pollinator, so I'll put the name on the screen of what this plant is called. And here we just got another shrub that will bloom red in fall. And then there as well. And there was daisies among here. I think they were Chesta daisies, but they're kind of done blooming. And then here we have the orange daylilies. Or they're more like a peachy color. And then I transplanted my rhubarb plant to this area from where I used to have it, and it is doing much better here. And then we have some more cornflowers back here. And then the tree that we have here in the middle is really quite the wondrous tree. Again, I forget the name of it. I will insert the name here, but it has these big orange clusters in fall. Ever since I was a kid and we first came to Canada, these trees, I don't know what it was about them. I would draw them, I would color them. I always wished to have a tree like this. So now we have one. When it blooms in springtime, it smells horrible. But when these start to turn orange, oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. So what happened with this tree when it was little, we had a really big storm coming through, and it actually broke. It broke right down there in the midst of the tree stem. The tree was much smaller than yet, but my husband babied it. He bandaged it all up, put it all back together, and we thought it was going to die, but it didn't. It just came back to life, and it is growing really nice, and it's looking beautiful. And then just turning over here, we have another apple tree over here, and it had actually quite a few apples this year, but unfortunately one of our grandboys, our 2-year-old, got a hold of quite a few apples over here and thought they were ready to eat and picked a bunch off. But there is still some here, and we are looking forward to the harvest and seeing what they will taste like. We had a few last year as well. This tree is only, I think, 2 or 3 years old. If I can find the name of this apple tree, I will put it on the screen. And then here we have another prairie poplar. Again, planted it for privacy reasons, but it's also attracting a lot of birds, all these trees, and the neighbors all around us have a lot of trees as well. All of those are the neighbors' trees, and we get so many different beautiful birds here. I even got a hawk the other day. It settled down right on top of the bird stand there that my husband built. I will insert that small little photo here. And then just going back over here to the back corner, we just have our compost container there where we put all the cuttings and grass clippings and all the different things into there. And we planted the 2 plum trees back here, as you've seen in a past video on my craft channel, and they are looking very healthy. They are doing very well. But guess what? A whole bunch of wild tomato plants grew here. Why, you ask? The only thing I can think of is because we used compost we had made ourselves, and there was obviously tomatoes in there, and now we have got a whole other tomato garden going on over here. We started pulling them out in the beginning, but then decided to just leave them, let them be, and see if we will get a harvest of tomatoes out of here as well. And then just swinging you around, we've got more raspberry plants here on the back of our garage. Got some ripe ones still here. My goodness. Now I'm just going to pick raspberries and eat raspberries. And then I have a few other perennials around here as well. I believe they're phlox, purple phlox. And another one of those perennials that have the bright yellow shoots that come out of it. And then my upside down lilies here have all finished blooming on this side of the house. And then of course that is my my peony bushes that are at the corner over here, of course all done blooming. Again, I wish they would bloom all summer long. And then this is my little rose garden here, and all my roses are not doing so well yet this year. I'm not really sure what's going on. Has it been too wet? I don't know. But right at the beginning here we have a pink blooming rose bush. I will insert, it did bloom already at one point. I'll insert the photo here and the name if I can find it. I have a multicolored hollyhock in the back here at the corner of the garage. I think it looks beautiful to have them. We've had one in the past, and so I planted one as well. The one that I had there in the past did not make it. And I've got my white rose bush here. That one is blooming somewhat. And that one in the back is a red one. Again, like I say, I'm just saying the colored names because I don't remember the name of the rose bush. And this is a beautiful peach pink rose bush. When it has all its full clusters, it's absolutely gorgeous. And then of course my lilies are done blooming back there, and that's another climbing rose bush over there. And then over here we have a white pinkish rose bush that blooms white with pink. And then this one at the corner here is a red one as well. Again, I was really hoping they would be in full bloom by the time I take and do the tour, but it's something that I just can't help. And then we have some more daylilies in the background there. So hopefully in August they will all be in full bloom, and then I can share that with you. And that is basically it for the backyard garden tour. So I'll just go ahead and do a little bit of the front garden tour here. I think I can talk. It's not too many neighbors home today when I'm recording. And you will have seen me plant this planter at some point, and when I just had all my videos on my craft channel. I will link that video down below where I planted this planter. And I know some of you are saying that, oh man, you're sure planting a lot of different things in one planter. I think I may have over planted it because the yellow begonias and the white that I put in here, they have died. I think they got choked out. But the red one in the front is doing really well. So note to myself for next year. And I always tend to go overboard. That's just what I do. But the vines are just looking beautiful. They're almost to the bottom already. And so it's looking very healthy and lovely. I've got a fern hanging up on top here. I think that completes it very nicely here in the corner. I don't want to show you too much in the front because of privacy reasons. And in the front here, I'm not going to go ahead and say any names of the plants or anything like that. I am just going to do a walkthrough and then put the names of the plants on the screen. But this bush over here in the front has really overtaken, and it's supposed to change color in fall as well. And then of course this is a hydrangea here. Yes, I'm saying a few of them right here in the beginning when I'm starting. This is a hydrangea, and it blooms these little white snow clusters, but it hasn't bloomed yet. And then we have some hostas back there that I want to transplant because you can't even see them from the front, so I want to transplant them to a different area. Okay, so maybe I will speak here a little bit more than I thought. This is a chrysanthemum that will bloom in fall, hosta back there. We've got annuals going right along the border here as well. And then also my husband has been digging out these blocks. They had sank all the way to the bottom, and you couldn't even see where the border was anymore. So he dug these all up, and then he put gravel in there and then re-put them in. He's not quite finished. He has to do the back yet. And I will insert a small video here of him working on this. It was quite the big project to dig all these blocks up and then make the trench all nice and then fill it with gravel and then put the blocks back in. We could have gone ahead and just purchased new blocks and put them on top, but they are actually quite expensive. So my husband decided to dig them all up and then just, put the gravel filler in the hopes that they won't sink right away and stay for years to come. As you can see, you can hardly even see those blocks here. They have sank in quite a bit. So hopefully this will last 5 to 10 years, let's hope. But he did a really good job. And there's only a few of my lilies that are still blooming in the back here, but most of them are done blooming. This is the purple phlox that we have in the back too, that is not blooming yet, that I was talking about a little bit earlier. And there's another small hydrangea plant here, but once it has grown to full size, it will come up to yay high. And we have this really big rock in the front, and I planted just a whole bunch of packets of wildflowers around it, and some of them looks like are starting to bloom. And of course some more annuals that I planted right around the border in the front. And this is just a shrub that will turn color in fall. And then there is part of my rock garden in the back here where my irises, my big yellow irises that I've shared on the video as well, they're all done blooming, of course. And I have got a black-eyed Susan growing here as well. And then here I planted the other bee pollinator. And then there we have some more lilies that are basically done blooming. And we have kind of transformed the front here this year. So all the big shrubbery we dug out and have planted new stuff in here. So this will take a while for this to all fill back up again. But at least now you can see my rock garden again. And over there we have the red blazing maple tree that we planted, what is it now, 2 years ago? And it has these bright red leaves in fall, hence the name blazing red, right? And again, I don't remember all the perennial names that I planted here, but if I can find it, I will put the name on the screen. I was talking to you guys the other day about these low covering perennials, and I split that one up and put one half here and one half over there. And some of our neighbors have come outside, so I'm just going to go ahead and record and not talk anymore, and then possibly add some music or a voiceover. I'll just quickly talk about this tree stump here first. We had a beautiful tree growing here when we first moved here. If I can find a photo, I'll insert it. It died, we had to cut it down, and I have planted some perennials in here. As you can see, this is as far as my husband got. He's got to continue digging these out and putting them up higher. It's a lot of work. He does it on his spare time when he's home on the weekend. Look at this huge hosta plant. Isn't that beautiful? It's one of my favorites. And it has these purple blooms. As you can see, the leaves are quite big. And I have split this one up and planted it in several other spots. And that is the latest little evergreen tree that we planted here. And that's another chrysanthemum that will bloom in fall. And I'll just show you the side of the house here a little bit, what we've all got planted here. Basically everything that is on the side of the house mostly was all here. And this is an absolutely gorgeous shrub. And it looks like it has fall colors year round with multiple different colors. And this is the side of our house. And this one here, honestly, I thought it had died. It's absolutely beautiful. It kind of looks like eucalyptus, but it grows into this huge, beautiful bush, and it goes halfway up our house. So I'm really glad. So I'm really glad it came back to life. Well, friends, that brings me to the end of my garden tour. I hope you enjoyed coming along. It is by all means not perfect. It is my little sanctuary that I wanted to share with you guys and also have as a memory for myself to look back onto many years down the road. And, you know, we're always learning, right? I often tell myself, oh, okay, that plant does not look good there. Why did I put it there? And then I'll move it somewhere else. And I'm always doing different things with the garden. Vegetables we do in a different spot every year. And I feel like over the years, we are going to slow down more and more with planting vegetables, as it's just my husband and myself, and we don't need to plant that much. And it always turns out at the end of the year, my nieces will have an abundance and give me an abundance. And I just feel like I want to maybe slow down with the vegetable growing season or years now, moving forward. Now, of course, I say that to my husband every year. I will tell him, well, this year I don't want to plant hardly nothing. I want to skip a year of gardening and have a break. But by the time we've been through that long, dreary winter, and finally spring arrives, you get this really big excitement and joy, and you just go crazy. And then later on, you're like, oh, wow, I did that again. I planted so much again and I didn't want to. And I feel like I kind of do that every year. So we'll see what next year will bring. But for now, that's the end of the tour. It's the last day of July. Can you believe it? August is around the corner. That's crazy. I love August because it's my birthday month in August. So I always do enjoy the month of August with all the different blooms as well and different outings that we do in August. And yeah, what I will do is I'm going to do an evening tour yet when all the lights are on and everything, and I will insert that here afterwards after I'm done yapping here, and which I am now. So thank you so much for coming along. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm so thankful for all of you, and I hope you will all have a beautiful, blessed August and enjoy the summer while we can, right? Thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.